This shit ain't for kids, bruh. What up everyone, it's your boy Xmanny87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends video, and what I have for you today is the Marvel Legends Black Widow Wave Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure Series Taskmaster action figure review. If you could please leave a like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, Taskmaster comes with a shitload of accessories you see here, so definitely let's take a look at the accessories first and then we'll take a closer look at Taskmaster. Taskmaster comes with 6 interchangeable hands, so first up is the closed fisted hands. Then we have 2 clawed hands that are reused from the Killmonger action figure. Lastly, there is 1 trigger hand for the right and an open holding hand for the left. Now to take a closer look at his shield, it is very tiny. I mean like tin can lid type tiny. So it's very small in design, but it has a nice dark gray and bright orange deco sporting the Taskmaster logo. So that is really cool. On the back of the shield, you have that peg that flips over into the clip, and I can't stand this. As you saw in my Red Guardian review, it broke, but you could just clip it onto Taskmaster. And man, I'm just nervous every time I'm putting this on. And as you can see, it is very tiny looking. Next up is the sword, and it has that same dark gray and orange deco going from the shield with a really nice design going on. I'm a fan of the sculpting here. It's pliable, but made with a sturdy enough plastic to prevent it from warping. The hilt has this funky design to it with a gap in the middle and the tiny Taskmaster logo right above it. Wonder what that hole is for, but anyway, you're just gonna put it into Taskmaster's hand like so, and the hand grips onto the sword very nicely. Next up we have the bow and arrow, and it sticks with the previous weapon's color scheme. The bow has a pliable plastic string that you can just, you know, sling the arrow off of this, but if you see right there, there's a tiny gap, and that's where the arrow is gonna fit in, and you can actually clip it onto that and it stays sturdy. So this will help out with like archery posing, and I think that's really neat. And if you want to launch the arrow, just flick it back, and oh man, I hope I didn't lose it. Didn't lose it, still got it. So what you can do here is just like I showed you before, clip the arrow onto that tiny gap right there. And the best hand to pose for that is the trigger hand to slip the end part of the arrow in between the fingers. Now taking a closer look at the head sculpt, the hood is painted in a traditional Taskmaster comic colors with the blue, white, and orange, which is a great touch. I love it. And looking at the back of the hood, you get some texture throughout, and I get this like dry painted rub on top of the glossy texture. It's just not a good look. The hood is not removable, which it would have been cool if it was, because in the trailer we see Taskmaster without the hood. The mask is absolutely phenomenal here. We have a resemblance of a metal looking skull with some black glossy painted visor, and the most interesting part of this design is that there is a little tiny camera sculpted on the forehead in between his visors. So do you see that? Yup, that is a camera, which is absolutely amazing. As you know, Taskmaster, part of his abilities, his main ability is basically mimicking your every move, studying it and doing it way better than you can. And I just think it's a great concept that he would have a camera on his mask and study footage that way. That is just freaking cool. I have to say that the facial design of this mask has a slender look that captures a female facial structure. As you can see, it's a nice like V-cut shape, and that's one of my speculations in this movie, is that Taskmaster is not a man, it's actually a woman. But I'll get into more of that later. And then underneath the hood, we have what's almost a scarf-like layer added with a nice wrinkly sculpted texture throughout, so it looks really good, and it ends right here on the back. Taking a look at the rest of the body here, it has like this very Deathstroke-like color scheme and armor. As you can see, the chest plates are right here, and it looks very feminine to me. I'm sorry, man, but You know, when it's kind of perky like that, I think those are boobs, which just raises my speculations as to why I think Taskmaster will end up being a woman in the film. Then there's this beautiful metallic candy blue looking paint that pops out vibrantly with the mix of orange and silver. Armored abdominal plates that are again very feminine looking with a slender shape. Sorry guys, I'm gonna keep pointing this out. And the arms have a shoulder plate right here. And what's really cool about this, man, is we get a freaking hidden butterfly joint there. I did not expect this at all. I did not see this in any of the proto images. Wow, I definitely like that a lot. It's awesome because we rarely see that in MCU figures with this kind of feature. Then you get some texture underneath the armored sculpted parts. This figure gets lots of elbow range, and oddly enough, you can bend the elbow back as if it were broken in some UFC fight. Oh man, that looks creepy. Or you could do something like this and then bend it back like so, and it looks even creepier. Ugh. Then you get the arm braces in a nice silver and orange. Then looking at the belt, it's a separate piece. You get more of that candy blue paint right there. Some metallic silver. It looks familiar. I felt like I've seen this piece before, but I could be wrong. But nowhere to store the sword. That's a bummer. Then looking down at the legs, you get more of that texture underneath the armored sculpted parts. And you get the armored thighs, candy blue paint right there, armored knees, armored boots with some orange highlights on the knees and then some silver highlights on the boot right there. Then looking at the bottom of the feet, you don't get much threads or anything like that. But then when you look at the shoes, take a close look at the shoes. It looks like heels with a very prominent arch on the foot, man. This just makes me think it's a female and they just don't want us to know that. Then looking at the back of the figure, there's only orange highlights of paint present on the back of the arms. And then this little mini backpack, which I think is where the sword is going to be kept stored in the movie. I'm not sure. It's just a guess, but it may be something like that. I don't know. Or who knows? It could be some sort of techie type of thing, but there's something hidden in here, and I want to find out. Now for some shits and giggles, if you want to, take the Taskmaster from the Thanos Avengers Infinity War wave and put that cape on this figure, and it looks really good, I gotta say. And sometimes mixing some comic parts with MCU stuff can be a lot of fun. Now to cover articulation with Taskmaster, the head only moves that far up, so not much up, because if you force it back, it's just gonna pop out. I will say that there is this extra like neck hinge, kind of like the Doctor Doom, that it does, it does maneuver a bit, so might help looking down, not so much up, maybe, I don't know. Well, yeah, you could see it like pop underneath there, and then it could look down, moves left, right, and there's some pivoting, and it rocks around. Shoulders move up that far, not much. Just to give you a heads up, when you move the shoulders up, this piece of the shoulder will dig into the shoulder plate, and yeah, it's gonna cause some damage, so I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. So if you do it same with the other side, yeah, you can't really move the arm up as high as you want it to. It's definitely going to be restricted there. Moving on, you get that nice butterfly joint, so I like that a lot. And then it moves down all around. You got the shoulder swivel, bicep swivel. You got great double jointed elbows that move in way past the 90-degree mark. You got a wrist swivel and a wrist hinge. You got an ab crunch that moves that far forward, boobies, and that far back. You got a waist swivel, legs move that far apart, and moves that far up and that far back. You got the legs that rock around, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and no heel to the Taskmaster ass, but can kick the backpack, so it's pretty high. There is not a boot cut despite being a cut right there, so that leaves the ankles to move up that far, down that low, wow, real low, and then all around ankle pivot. Alright, now for some comparisons, here is our MCU Taskmaster next to the Udon Taskmaster and our classic Taskmaster. And I can definitely see where the inspirations came from for the MCU design. It's like if this Taskmaster had a baby with this Taskmaster, you come out with this. But yeah, you can see a good combo of the two mixed up. Then comparing all the shields, as you can see, this one is definitely the tiniest out of all of them. And I think it's tiny because it's probably light to be female user friendly, so it just raises more of my speculations. Here's Taskmaster next to the Worthy Cap. Here is Taskmaster next to Black Widow. Here is Taskmaster next to Deadpool, which in the comics, he is the only character he cannot mimic his abilities. And man, I can't wait to see this next to the movie Deadpool we're getting later this year. And here is Taskmaster next to our Spider-Man PS4 Advanced suit. And I can see some people using this MCU Taskmaster as a Spider-Man PS4 Taskmaster. Here is Taskmaster next to fellow wave mate Red Guardian. And here is Taskmaster next to the Star Wars Mandalorian Cara Dune. And how awesome would it be if Taskmaster ends up being a woman and that woman is Gina Carano playing the character? Like, that would be so badass, and she's such a badass, and I wouldn't mind seeing that change, as I love me some Gina Carano. Maybe it could be something where she was in the Widow program and now she wants to command an army full of Widow assassins that can mimic abilities like Taskmaster can. Again, just guessing. That would be one deadly ass army though. Alright, and now to wrap things up, my final rating is a 10 out of 10. Total awesomeness. I mean, this figure has everything you would like in a Legends figure, or at least almost everything. It has the most accessories out of this entire wave. 6 hands and 4 weapons that make up a total of 10. That will surely make collectors happy. This is one of those figures I'd recommend only comic figure collectors to buy. MCU collectors must jump on this for sure. A real fan of action figures would appreciate this beauty and buy it, as it's so freaking awesome. After the letdown of Red Guardian I had, I was happy for this figure to lift my spirits up tenfold. There's just a puzzle to this figure's attire that I'm intrigued to solve. Look, I don't mean to piss anyone off, such as the purists, when I say I think it's a woman. I could be right and I can also be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. No biggie. It's just speculation and just having fun with it. We'll find out when the movie comes out. I get a Winter Soldier political spy thriller vibe from the trailers. This figure has gotten me extremely hyped to another level to watch the movie and can't wait for it. The articulation is so damn good. The paint job is so damn good. And the sculpt is absolutely phenomenal. The detailing on the face blew me away, especially with the camera on the forehead. This truly shows you that the head sculpt makes the figure. And once you have a great head sculpt, I'm all yours. This figure is super fun to pose and might end up being my favorite out of this wave when all said and done, but I'll judge that for when I finish reviewing all the figures in the wave. So that was my review. Please drop a like rating on the video, comment, we'll chat about it. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, link is in the description below. Get your Marvel Legends Black Widow figures at Big Bad Toy Store, link is in the description below. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.